And this obviously helped investigators look at the search history for Nikolas Cruz, which we talked about a little earlier on, and we'll get into in a little bit. I'm joined right now by criminal defense attorney Paul Townsend, and also joined once again by law and crime legal analyst Matthew Mangino. So, Paul, I have to tell you, I find it interesting that Nikolas Cruz left his cell phone, he left the weapon, he left the vest, all in the school, and then left. Why do you think he did that? You know, there's a part of me that wonders, he seems so targeted for the school, right? He could have taken all these materials, left the school, opened fire on other people outside. He chose not to do that. It was a very specific action, I think, for him to leave these materials. Why do you think he did it?
Well, it's always difficult to kind of Tuesday morning quarterback and get into the mind of Nikolas Cruz and say why he did this or why he didn't do that. My personal feeling on this is he wanted so badly to be kind of a famous school shooter that was the sole focus. That's what the planning was for. He meticulously planned how he was going to enter the school, where he was going to go, what he was going to do, but it doesn't seem like he really put any real thought into escape or what was going to happen afterwards. He was so enveloped in this whole idea of getting to the school, causing this carnage and mayhem, that I just don't think that he ever actually sat down and said, okay, and then what? And so because of
Mm.
that, he leaves the phone, he leaves the gun, he goes to the McDonald's, he has a conversation with somebody, and he's caught just kind of walking down the street. Like, it doesn't seem like there was any planning on his part about what was going to happen after.
You could argue that maybe he was trying to blend in with the rest of the school students, and then when he went to the and maybe tried to hitch a ride with somebody that he met at the McDonald's. That was so fortuitous for him. You couldn't have planned somebody to be there. The escape route didn't quite make a ton of sense, but you make a good point. Yeah, and that's what we're trying to understand here. What's also interesting, Paul, is what we're looking at Nikolas Cruz here, and we're all wondering if he's going to make some sort of statement during the course of these proceedings. We know that when he pled guilty, he kind of gave a rambling apology. It was very quick. He wanted the victim's family members to determine his fate, even though that's not the law. But as I'm listening to this evidence of premeditation and how evil this is and how his search history wants the families to suffer, and we're going to get into it in a little bit, it just maybe will ring so hollow if he comes out now with his life on the line and says something to try to apologize in some way. I'm not sure. Do you think it serves him in any way to make a statement?
The answer is it may. It's a conversation that's I guarantee ongoing between him and his defense team. So on one hand, if he says nothing, that in and of itself does say something to the jury. So in this type of situation, I think there's almost an expectation, since he's already kind of done this rambling kind of pseudo apology that you discussed. But I think if he does say something, it definitely runs the risk of ringing hollow based on everything that has come out during this trial that demonstrates kind of what his state of mind was during the preparation. For him to actually have an effective statement to this jury, he needs to really convey some true emotional self-reflection about what he did. And it's going to be a steep uphill battle for him to be able to convince them that there is any actual remorse in him. So I think he potentially could end up doing more harm than good if he gets up there and tries to say anything.
Yeah, that may be very well what happens. We'll take a break. When we come back, as I mentioned, we want to get into Nikolas Cruz's computer search history. We'll be back.